5-2. I think yesterday we didn't cover the 5-2. We can go back to 5-2. Yeah, 252. Yeah, and then I'll charge it.
So text 52. Mm,
2.52. Yes. Ready?
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita Grantha Raj Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Today we're reading from chapter 2, text 52. Chapter 2, text 52. Yadate moham kalilam budhir vyati tarishyati tada dantasti nirvedam sota yasasutasya. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that, I'm sorry, all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to the ritual of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activity, even though an experienced Brahmin. Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of his book, said, "Oh, my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. Oh, Veda, I offer my obeisances to you. Oh, demigod, oh, forefather, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my." Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the other dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of punishment, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes. Uh, for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained. One can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna. He has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in the books. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., and he is uselessly wasting time in such engagement. Persons' consciousness transcend the limit subsequent to the range of Vedas and Upanishads. Prabhupada ki jai. And this mantra says, Yadati moha kalivam yukti yati Sadadanta senior vedam shota yastasya. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense form of the illusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard, all that is to be. Okay. So, becoming indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas is something special because the devotee has become seriously involved in devotional service. And he's not obligated to perform all the Vedic rituals that are mostly done for material benefit. Mostly or almost completely done for material. So therefore, once one develops a relationship with him, he or she becomes naturally completely indifferent to ritual. Okay, so this is indicative of serious devotees who no longer have to follow the rules and regulations of karma conduct, self-interested, which were personal, for personal sake. So there's so many rituals for material events, all rejected by genuine. So what do the devotees do? They also do some ceremonial, but it's only based on pleasing.
Hare Krishna, the volume is low.
Volume. Maybe I need to put it on. Is it better now?
That's better.
Okay. All right, well, let me start again here. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. What is this dense forest of delusion? Well, it's performing spiritual activities meant for personal, let's say, gratification. So someone can pray, please, and someone can do some tapasya or austerity to improve their health or for someone else to have better health and for their business to do better. These are self-interested types of worship, And therefore, Krishna says something about it. Let me read it. It's in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that all sacrifices second, but the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of the Bhardas, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Prabhupada writes, sometimes sacrifices and rituals are performed for elevation to the heavenly kingdom or for some material benefits in this material world. Such sacrifices or ritualistic performances are considered to be in the mode of passion. Then it says, second, okay, so in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 25 says, without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. In the purport, it says, to be elevated to the spiritual position, one should not act for any material gain. Acts should be performed for the ultimate gain of being transferred to the spiritual kingdom, back to home, back to Godhead. Okay. And also it says, and it also says in the 17th chapter, 28th verse, anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith, the Supreme Lord, O Arjuna, is impermanent, meaning it's temporary. It is called asat, and is useless both in this life and the next. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Anything done without the transcendental object, whether it be sacrifice, charity, or penance, is useless. Therefore, in this verse, it is declared that such activities are abominable. Everything should be done for the Supreme in Krishna consciousness, meaning everything should be done for Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Without such faith and without the proper guidance, there can never be any fruit, or meaning any real benefit. In all the Vedic scriptures, faith in the Supreme is advised. In the pursuit of all Vedic instructions, the ultimate goal is the understanding of Krishna. No one can obtain success without following his principles. Therefore, the best course is to work from the very beginning in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. That is the way to make everything successful. In a conditional state, people are attracted to worshiping demigods, ghosts, or yakshas like Kuvera. The mode of goodness is better than the modes of passion and ignorance, but one who takes directly to Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all three modes of material nature. Although there is a process of gradual elevation, if one, by the association of pure devotees, takes directly to Krishna consciousness, that is the best way. And that is recommended in this chapter, chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. To achieve success in this way, one must first find the proper spiritual master and receive training under his direction. Then one can achieve faith in the Supreme, faith in Krishna. When that faith matures in course of time, it is called love of God. This love is the ultimate goal of living entities. One should therefore take to Krishna consciousness directly. That is the message of the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, the purpose of all, sacrifices, ceremonies, different things that may be done is to purify ourselves of material desires and replace those desires with spiritual desires, please Krishna. That is what we should aim for. Now, when we have only spiritual desires to please Krishna, then our whole life changes. And we begin to associate with good people, good devotees, and we begin to engage in devotional service to please Krishna. And we get interested in reading Shastras such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and above all, associating regularly with devotees. And that is the best way to make spiritual advancement. In the association of devotees, one makes a lot of spiritual advancement. Therefore, we should see that as an absolute necessity in our spiritual life. So we should always find out the association of devotees who actually are following the regulative principles themselves. And in their association, we learn a lot of things about who Krishna is and how to serve Krishna, and eventually attain love and devotion, love through devotional service to Krishna. Okay, so, and there's another point. It says, anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Prita, O Arjuna, is impermanent. It is called asat, that which is not eternal, and is useless both in this life and the next. In the purport, this is the 17th chapter again, verse 28. The purport says, anything done without the transcendental objective, whether it be sacrifice, charity, or penance, is useless. Therefore, in this verse, it is declared that such activities are abominable. Everything should be done for the Supreme Krishna consciousness. Without such faith and without the proper guidance, there can never be any fruit. In all the Vedic scriptures, faith in the Supreme is advised. Okay, now let's just stop there and think about this. It's a fact that the position of a devotee in spiritual life depends on how much faith the devotee has in Prabhupada and Krishna. Now, I know people who have been, who have very weak faith, and they usually fall down. But if you have very strong, determined faith in Prabhupada in Krishna, then you'll make very, let's say, substantial spiritual advancement and rather quickly. And how to maintain that faith is by regularly chanting your rounds, regularly associating with devotees, good devotees, that is, and following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Then it's not difficult to have a spiritual life your whole life. It's not difficult. But if we don't regularly chant, don't regularly hear lectures given by genuine devotees, and don't regularly associate with the devotees, then it's very easy to lose one's enthusiasm, follow Krishna consciousness. And there are always going to be temptations to do other things that takes your mind away from Krishna consciousness. In other words, if we look in the 12th chapter, you find something. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says, 12th chapter, verse 8. Just fix your mind upon me, Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of God, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes, one who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishnized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so, although this is a process recommended in the Bhagavad Gita and in other Vedic literature. Okay, so we should all seek to become Krishnized, and that's by eating prasadam, the remnants of food that's been offered to Krishna and then offered back by Krishna as his blessing. Okay, so what's our purpose? Our purpose is to be engaged 24 hours a day in thinking about Krishna and serving Krishna. Then we will be in a very good position to go back to Godhead in this lifetime. So in the 12th chapter, verses 6 and 7, this is also explained. Krishna says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, have fixed their minds upon me. Having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Okay, so there's what you would call the fast track to go back to Godhead is what we just read. And in the purport to this verse, this is the 12th chapter, text 6 and 7. Prabhupada writes, it is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to him. His, meaning the devotee's duty, is to render service to the Lord. And if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully in Krishna in order to achieve him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of God. Okay, so it's not that the personality of Godhead is attracted to the devotee. It's that chanting, the transcendental chant of Hare Krishna, attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. In other words, the devotee becomes attracted to the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee that engages from that engage. He will deliver a pure devotee thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. So the Lord promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee, from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process. And others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him. In other words, if you're interested in the Lord and you're engaged in this devotional service, the Lord gives you special, let's say, importance and special attention to make sure that you come back to him in this life. Therefore, it says, the Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged, from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga. And others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes the devotee back to Godhead. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual spot. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears, Nayami Paramam Stanam Archir Adi Gatim Vina Garuda Skandam Arupya Yatecham Anivar Itaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. he clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer of the devotee. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once riding on his bird carrier, Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from his material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man, meaning any intelligent person, should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. In the Narayaniya, this is confirmed as follows. Narayaniya is a book of devotional service. Yavai sadhana sampati purusartha chatustaye taya vina tad apnati naro narayanashraya. Okay, I'm getting a phone call. Let me just take a quick break here for a second. I'll come right back. Hare Krishna. What did you say? Yeah, it's not going where it normally does. It's going to the another place. One second. You know where the food truck goes tonight?
Redmond, yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, 1 second, sir. Where is it?
In Redmond, Maharaj, in Together Center.
Okay. The food truck is at a place called the Together Center. You know where that is?
It's in 164th Avenue. Okay.
Okay, very good, sir. Thank you. Hare Krishna. He's a happy man. I was going to go and have some nice Krishna. Okay, so let's continue here. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of God can attain all the benefits derived from the other yogic processes: speculation, ritual, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is a specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarvadharmam parityaja mam ekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarvapapyebhyo mokshisyami ma sujaham. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. that will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his or her past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of the devotee. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the supreme omnipotent Godhead, Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. So we shouldn't try to deliver ourselves. That's an important point. Rather, we should take complete shelter, in other words, surrender completely to Krishna and to his devotees, and be guided so that we can make tangible and rather quick spiritual advancement and gradually go back to God. And Prabhupada says that is the highest perfection of life. Then in the 12th chapter, verse number 8, it says, Krishna says, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of God, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always, without a doubt. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, one who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishnized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so. Although this is a process recommended in the Bhagavad Gita and in other Vedic literature. Okay, my dear devotees, I think the time is up. Are there any questions before we say good night? Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? How do you become Krishnized? By eating Krishna prasadam. That's the way you become Krishnized. Any questions? Okay, so thank you very, very much for taking the time to hear Bhagavad Gita. And we will continue. Take rest early so you can take part in the lecture tomorrow morning, about 11 hours from now, at 6:30 in the morning. Okay, so let's see. We stop at text second chapter. What was it? Verse 30.
52,
32.
52.
Oh, 50.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
2.52.
Huh?
2.52.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please have a good evening and take rest early. And I'll see you, 11 hours.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Krishna.